Good morning, everybody. My name is Jared O'Leary. I've been drumming since 1998, and I still got plenty of stuff to work on today. I'm practicing limb independence. I'm working with some patterns that are out of this book, 50 Ways to Syncopation by Dom Moyle. I highly recommend this book. It's great. Now, in these live streams, think of it like office hours. I'm here to practice stuff I'm not good at yet. And people will sometimes ask me questions about how to get better at drumming or how to get better at teaching. In all these 500 plus live streams, there are timestamps in the description to show what I was practicing or what kind of question I was answering. Because I've been drumming for almost 30 years and because I've taught every grade kindergarten through doctoral student, I'll get questions that I will edit and put into this playlist, the Drumming Tips playlist that has just under 20 hours of drumming tips about how to get better at drumming or how to get better at teaching. The first thing that I talk about is the title. So if we scroll to a random one, like what is touch when drumming? But if it says and other drumming tips, that means there are more topics in there. But the first thing is whatever the title is. For example, drum techs need to be patient. I can't speak. And other teaching tips. So check that out if you're interested in it. You can find that on my home tab of YouTube. Now, I am not good at limb independence yet, so Shia LaBeouf is going to help motivate me to get better at limb independence. So I'm going to hide him because of copyright. But Shia, help motivate me. Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success, while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Wow, Shia LaBeouf. I can't speak this morning. Everybody's super motivated now. Okay, I'm going to be practicing, and the way I'm going to be practicing is using some of the thousands of free resources that are on my home tab of YouTube. There's so many, you have to click on the header to actually show you all the playlists. Like if you're a rudimental drummer, the chop section, there's a bunch of rudimental stuff that you can use to work up your chops. And there's a bunch of grid variations. In fact, there's over 1,000. Again, you have to click to show all of the playlists inside of each one of these different sections. So you can work on book reports or your flam drags or your diddles or whatever using all of these thousands of grid variations. I'm practicing limb independence today, so I'm going to come back to this in a moment. But there's over 500 marching bass drum related stuff. I'd highly recommend focusing on the timing exercises to practice, and they're over here. So these are great for marking time too. There's a bunch of drumline cadences and score format. There's also a bunch of sight reading exercises. There's a bunch of technique exercises, and there's just under 20 hours of drumming tips from Q&A on these live streams, as well as a bunch of drumming lessons. Think of these as like scripted lessons about how to do a specific thing, like how to hold traditional grip or whatever. Sorry, I don't respond to people who are just wasting my time. Cool. So today I'm practicing limb independence. Now, I'm going to go inside of this particular section right here. So inside of here, every single one of these playlists has a video that teaches you how to develop limb independence. So for example, I'm going to go inside of here, and this video, the how to develop limb independence on the kit, it has several steps that you follow from the very beginning up to more complicated stuff. Now, if you're like, well, what limb independence patterns do I work on? This is an edited version of a more than 3-hour stream that I did where I played through one chart 62 different ways. Some of them sounded great, and others are still stuff that I need to work on, but it at least shows you 62 different ways that you can work on limb independence. Now, the way that I'm going to work on limb independence right now to warm up is play through 2 different patterns. The first pattern is paradiddle left, right, right, left. Paradiddle left, right, right, left. Paradiddle left, right, right, left. While I read with the foot. The foot is going to continue to read with the charts. Every 4 bars, though, I'm going to switch to a different ostinato pattern. So an ostinato is a thing that doesn't change. So the thing that I'm going to play for the second half is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so the hi-hat's on the offbeat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and while switching between these and reading on the foot. Now I'm going to use these charts and I'm going to play it at 125 beats a minute. But you can go slower than this if you'd like to, and you can go way faster. These play-alongs go up to 240, and every single click in between, starting at 40, up to 240. Now, I'm going to pick a random set of charts. Let's just do 46 through 50. Sounds great. Inside of the timestamps of all these thousands of free play-alongs on my YouTube channel's home tab, you can click to go to a specific BPM, and it'll count off in your headphones or in your speakers. You can't hear it on your end because there's like a sync delay, so I muted it, but it's going to count off here in a second. And 2, 1, and 2, and ready, and so. This is the first ostinato pattern. Here's the second ostinato pattern. Again, while reading the charts with the foot, the right foot. 2, 1, 2, here we go. How do you separate your hands and feet? Oh, I can show you the resource for that in a second. But any of the limb independence playlists, it's that second video on there that shows you how to develop limb independence. It shows you step by step how to do it. I can summarize it in a minute. But that's a good question. Oops, I read that wrong. Now, each one of these is groups of 5. So when I get through 5, then I'll show you. Hey, you're very welcome. So again, switching between these two different patterns. This is more advanced. Normally what I'd recommend is starting with one pattern until you get them both down, and then you can try this pattern. Read that wrong again. Now, on the top line of each one of these charts, you can improvise. It hit my stick. Or you can just play the ostinato that you're working on, whatever you want to do. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. for one brand of marching drums and another brand for drums, etc.? Good question. I actually haven't bought drums in many years, like in 2 decades. So I actually don't know what the quality of most recent drums are. So like, for example, when I used to march and when I was teaching drumline, it was Pearl and Yamahas were really bad. But now I've heard that like Yamaha is actually pretty good. But I don't know because I haven't had experience with them. So like this is the drums. This drum kit is my wife's drum kit. But my drum kit on off camera is a Pearl, an Expert series. I totally screwed that up because I was talking. But yeah, so the drum kit that I have off camera over there is a Pearl Export series, and I love it. It sounds great. These D drums sound good. They're normally they make like electronic kits, and you can't really tell from here like what these would sound like because I'm using the Silent Stroke mesh heads, which lower the volume considerably, and then these low volume cymbals by Zildjian, which is why you can see my hand through it. So there's a bunch of holes drilled into them. So I can't effectively answer your question just because like I got the Pearl drum kit like a long time ago, and then my wife got this drum kit a long time ago, and then the last drum kit that I got outside of that, we have a third one. I just traded lessons with a student because they were gonna sell a drum kit, and I was like, hey, well, I'll teach you like 10, 20 lessons or whatever it was. And I'll basically take that drum set off your hands so that way I could use it to teach. Because at the time I only had one. So yeah, I'm not sure. They've changed so much over the years, but like for me, Pearl was my number one. I really enjoyed the hardware and like the fact that it wouldn't break down for both the marching stuff and the drum kit stuff. But I don't know, maybe like Mapex is better now. Maybe Dynasty is better. They were not when I was still marching. But I don't know. So it's a good question. I'm not qualified to give a good answer on that. Oh yeah. Before I do the stretch and massage. So V12. So the home tab of YouTube, what I was saying to develop the limb independence, if you scroll down here, all these limb independence playlists have a video on how to develop it. And it shows you step by step how to actually separate your feet from your hands to make it so that you can get to the point where you can do whatever you want. So inside of here, there are several steps, starting from the very beginner all the way up to what I was just doing, where I was like switching back and forth between 2 different limb independence patterns. But that is like a way advanced thing to do compared to like just learning limb independence. Holy cymbals, Batman, you're funny. These cymbals are fun. But the problem with these is it creates vampire stakes out of your sticks. So here's like a relatively, well, here, let me show you. Here's a fresh pair of sticks that I haven't used yet. So the beads of them. And then here's the exact same sticks after having played on them for, I don't know, like a month or whatever. It just eats holes through it slowly, and then they become vampire stakes. So if you are hunting vampires, get those Zildjian low volume cymbals. But they're fun. But anyways, so the way to develop limb independence and to separate them is to like go through ostinato patterns. So for example, if I were to like turn on my metronome and let's say I want to play like so that my right foot is completely separate from, actually let's just do this, from my hands. So I'm just going to keep this ostinato going. 2, 3, 4, I'm going to permutate. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And I'm just going to keep moving that quarter note, essentially, across the different quarter notes and the upbeats on the ands. Then what you'll do is you'll do 2, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 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 1, 2, and 3, etc. So you permutate 2 notes on the bass drum, and then you do 3, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up till you get to 8, where you're just like, etc. Okay? So that is the steps that you start to take to be able to get through it. If that is too difficult, then all you do is you take a step back and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you try doing something else with whatever limb you're trying to become independent of. So for example, with my right foot, I might like try and like do ankle rolls while doing this as I hit my stick. So you can sort of see it rolling my ankle on there. Or like draw like different shapes or patterns. Like I'm gonna sign my name with my foot while I 1, 2, and the metronome's still going in my head or whatever. Just trying to make it so that I can like do something else while I do that ostinato. Once you can do that, then you move on to what I was just doing with permutating. Once you can permutate, then you start to move into more complicated stuff where you're not playing like a pattern and like going through it systematically like I was just demonstrating, but instead you're doing a chart. So if you actually look at like the different steps in here, in step 1 of this video, it demonstrates what I was just saying, where you will start with an ostinato pattern, something that repeats over and over. Are these Vic Firth sticks? Yes, they're the Jack DeJohnette sticks. I really like them. They're long, they're heavier. As a rudimental percussionist, like that's what I want, is for it to feel like a rudimental stick, but it's not. Anyways, so inside of here, first step is demonstrating what I was just demonstrating. Second step inside of here, if you go to step 2, it's actually going to be using the resources that are inside of the limb independent section. So this is permutating. It's shifting across the beat. 1 note, 2 notes, 3 notes, and then the final part is just 4 notes. So you would play through these rhythms like with your foot while you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and you're just keeping that going, or whatever your ostinato pattern is. Maybe this is your ostinato pattern, and you're going to read through this with your snare drum, whatever it's going to be. So you go through these different patterns inside of here. Then for step 3, if we go into step 3, it's using the different charts like what I warmed up with. So with the different charts, then you're basically taking different combinations of those permutations that you work on, and it's putting it into a musical context, where now you're going from like maybe it was pattern number 7 into pattern number 2 into pattern number 44, or whatever it might have been in those different permutation exercises. So it's going through and slowly increasing the complexity as you are training your brain to get more and more comfortable with playing whatever the ostinato pattern is, the repeating pattern, while you have that independent limb or limbs while you're doing this. So this is just step 3, but there are more steps to make it more musical and to make it more interesting, to get to the point where you're doing what I was warming up with, where I'm alternating between 2 different patterns every 4 bars, or every 8 bars, or however long you want to do it. Good morning, Jeffrey. How you doing today? So all of these exercises, resources are in my home tab here. So when you scroll down to the limb independent section, you just got to click on the header. And these are all the timing permutations, whether you want to do it with 8th notes, with triplets, with 16th notes, or whatever. And then these are transitioning, I can't speak, between 2 different rhythms at least. So like triplets into 16th notes, or like 5-lets into 9-lets, whatever. There's a lot of different videos in there. There's 89 videos. But everything after this is different charts, either straight charts or swung charts. They're the same charts. It's just the play along will either make the 8th note straight or swung. So whatever you need to work on. So if you're like trying to work on what I was just demonstrating with, you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom, and you want to make so that your foot can play whatever it is that you want, you would start with these permutation exercises. And just inside of this 8th note permutation exercise, there's a ton of different variations in here that you could work on. So maybe you'll start with variation number 5, and when you look at this, it's slowly going through what I was demonstrating earlier. You're playing a single note for 2 measures. Then you put it on the and for 2 measures. Then you put it on 2 for 2 measures. Then you put it on the and of 2 for 2 measures. Blah, 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 blah. All the way through, cycling through, permutating. Then it does 2 notes. Cool. Then it does 3 notes, and then 4 notes, and then 5 notes. It's a very thorough, slightly tedious process, but this makes it so that you can play any combination of all these different 8th notes, or 16th notes, or triplets, or whatever it is that you're working on with this, And then once you can get this down, then you can move on to the next step where you're actually reading through some charts. So if you were to like go back to my home tab and like scroll all the way down into this tips and lessons section where there's over 20 hours tips just between these two different playlists right here. But inside of these live streams, there's over 500 live streams that I did. And last year, my main focus was making it so that I could play those 62 different limb independence variations with one chart, or the 55 charts that are on the limb independence section. But I started some of those and they were terrible, like unplayable for like a month or two. But by going through the process that's outlined inside of the limb independence playlist, I was able to get it from unplayable to, okay, that actually feels comfortable. Some of them I still need to practice, but I mean, the process is outlined. The free resources are here. Everything you need to develop limb independence to make it so that your hands are separate from your feet is outlined in these free resources. So you don't need to like pay for a course or an app or buy a book or whatever. Just follow the steps in there, and I promise it can develop it, as evidenced by all the streams that I have done where I was unable to play stuff to now I can play it. It was following through that process. But that's a good question, and sorry it was a long answer, but there's a ton of resources that can help you with it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch and massage since we warmed up. So the first stretch is stretching the sides of the forearms. It looks funny, but it feels great. Ooh-wee. In the drumming lessons playlist on my home tab, there's a video that shows you better camera angles of this with some extra stretches for rotary motions like traditional grip. So check that one out. It's called This Hand Routine Saved My Drumming. Stretching the underside of the forearms right here. Feels good. And then stretch the other side. If you want to go twice as fast, do this on the wall. The lower you go, the deeper the stretch. Don't put all your weight into it. Speaking of going twice as fast, I'm now going to stretch the top side of the forearm. So you could do it one at a time like this. You could do it on the wall like a zombie. The higher you go, the deeper the stretch. Or if you just do it on your legs like this, it makes it so you can stretch them both. Do. Thank you for the sub. Last stretch is thumb to thumb. So stretching the fingers goes twice as fast this way. If you're here for the drumming stuff, go to the home tab. Do not go to my video feed. There's literally over 2,000 drumming videos, and the video feed will take forever to find all the content. Just click on the header for any of the sections on the home tab, and it expands to show you over 1,000 grid variations or over 20 hours of drumming tips and lessons, etc. Just click a header, and it shows you all the playlists for it. And whoop. Is that from Dude, Where's My Car? I haven't seen that movie in, I think, decades. You know, I'm old. Cool. That was the end of the stretching routine. Now I'm going to do a massage routine. It's not very long, but the thumb's going to be on top, the fingers are going to be underneath, and it's going to massage up and down the forearms to try and get it nice and relaxed. Man, you're bringing back some memories. No end in. And then no end in. 2001. Nice. That was the first year I marched. I did academy from 01 through 05. And then didn't get a march 06 or 07 because of a car accident. But 2001, yeah, that was midway through high school-ish. 2000, eh? Okay. That was either the end of my freshman year or the start of my sophomore year. Okay. Next, I'm going to massage the palm of my hand with the thumb, and then my fingers are going to massage the back side of my hand. So I'm just kind of working my way around, just trying to get it relaxed. And then I got one more quick massage, and then I'm going to play two different patterns again, switching every 4 bars. They are very similar, a samba into a Baião, but it makes it so that there's kind of like a mental challenge of like not forgetting to switch because of how similar they are. Sometimes when they're like super contrasting, it's like easier to switch back and forth between them than when they're similar, because my brain just like is like, well, no, that's the same, right? Base the tip of each of the fingers, one quick little massage, and then a second time, and then switch to the next finger. So 2 times through. If a finger is tight, do it 3 times through. I wonder how that movie holds up. You know when you're like a kid and like you're like, oh, this movie's great, and then you like revisit it as an adult and you're like, whoa, no, it's not. I wonder how that movie holds up. I haven't seen it in forever. Okay. What I'm gonna do now, actually, I'll show you with this view, is play 2 different foot patterns. The first foot pattern is right, left, right, right. Oops, sorry. Hi-hat. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right. So that's the samba pattern. And then left, right, both. Right, left, right, both. Right, left, right, both. So the hi-hat stays on 2 and 4 with the foot the entire time. While doing this, I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and that's just going to keep repeating. So this is what the cymbals are going to do the entire time. Nothing changes with the cymbals. The thing that changes is my right foot. So, and going to right, left, right, both. Right, left, right, both. Right, left, right, both. Right, left, right, back to samba. Into Baião. While I read through charts on the snare drum. Okay, that's the plan. So I'm going to do this using the play-alongs on my home tab. There's thousands of play-alongs in here. Click on the header and it expands. Oh, before I do that, I just wanted to show you. So under the drumming lessons, if you scroll all the way down, this one, this hand routine saved my drumming. It shows you the stretch and massage routine I did, plus some extra stuff for like keeping your hands nice and healthy. And then this is also a great one to do to help yourself recover after drumming. In fact, I didn't drum yesterday because I like strained a muscle in my neck and shoulder from working out, and I followed some of the steps in here with like icing, heating, etc., and it made it so that I feel much better and no longer have that headache from the strain. So I'm able to actually drum today. So those 2 videos are great for recovering and keeping your hands healthy. Dude, where's my car holds up for you? Fits your sense of humor perfectly. You can't speak for others. Yeah, no, that's fair. I have a eclectic sense of humor, I guess would be a good way to phrase it. Like I like the dry, like British comedy, like Monty Python style. And then I also like just like the goofy stuff. Dude, Where's My Car is more of, it's like branded as like the stoner humor. And I interestingly like those kinds of movies, even though I've never partaken. So like I don't do drugs, don't do alcohol and whatnot. But like I laugh at those kinds of movies. But yeah, to each their own. Some people like love a certain kind of comedy and other people hate it. But if you don't like what I like, it's wrong. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm playing 2 straight patterns. So I'm going to use the straight charts and I'm going to play them fast. So I'm going to play them at 7 billion beats a minute. We just did charts 46 through 50. Let's just work our way up. So let's do 41 through 45. So inside of the timestamp of all these thousands of free play-alongs, you can jump to whatever BPM you want. I'm going to try and play through this at 190. We'll see how my brain functions at that speed. Wish me luck. 2, 1, 2, ready, and. So this is the samba on the right foot. Baião right here. 1, 2, switching between those. Baião. Samba. Baião. Samba. Sorry. Baião. Back to the samba. Okay, so every 4 bars switching, and I'm going to stop talking because it turns out 5-way independence is difficult. 1, 2, here we go. Okay. Better than I thought it would go. This is brisk. 1, 2, ready, and... Whoops. You're funny. It just takes practice. You can learn how to do this as well. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it's good to just take a break. Other times it's good to just like push through it, grind, practice what you need to. Reading errors. Hooked on phonics did not work for me. Cool. Okay, so other than the reading errors at the end, it was like mostly okay. But 0. So yeah, sometimes it's okay to just noodle. Like it becomes a problem though if you're like just noodling around for weeks or months or years. But it's sometimes good to just, you know, have fun making music as opposed to focusing on like, oh, I got to improve. And I say that as a type A person who is just like constantly like nothing I do is good enough. Everything I have to do is to try and improve, and like it helps to relax me when I actually like practice rather than just kind of like messing around. But there's a lot of therapeutic benefits of just, you know, making music for the sake of music. So it's okay to not grind out all the time. Speaking of grinding out, let's review some patterns that I haven't played in a while. So these are from Dom's book. 50 Ways of Syncopation, right here. Highly recommend the book. Most of these patterns are from there. But let's see. What do I want to review that I haven't played in a while? I could do like another, like where I switch between two different patterns, or could just review one on its own. Do I want to do this one? I don't think I've done this one in a while. This one's also a weird one. Let me show you. This one, it's not as straightforward as some of the others. So, how fast did I play this last time? 130. It says to go slower, though. Okay, let's try 120. So these are like my notes to myself. Okay, so the pattern that I'm going to play is a 3/4, basically. So my hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. While I read through charts on the snare drum. That's the plan for this particular pattern. Let me make sure I'm reading it correctly. Yes, we did it that way. Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do that at 120. And the pattern is a straight pattern. So I'm going to go back to my home tab. I'm going to scroll down to the limb independent section. Click on the header of any of these different sections for all the drumming stuff. And I'm going to play it at 120, and it's a straight pattern. So I'm going to go to straight drum charts from 100 to 159. You can go as slow as 40. or you can go as fast as 240. 100% up to you, what you want to work on and what your goals are. I just played through these two, so let's just go ahead and work our way up again. Keep switching the charts that you're working on, so that way you practice sight reading. And if you want to do this on hard mode, practice sight reading while you read chat. Turns out, that's difficult. Okay. 2, 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you put an accent on my voice, would it be a 6-way independence? Yes. 2, ready, and... Now, we could make it more musical by adding in different timbres or different textures, or making it so there's different dynamics, etc. So I'm going to start adding in some different accents and taps, just to make it more interesting musically speaking. Ready? And... So the drum triggers aren't super like responsive. I kind of got some cheaper ones, much regret. So you can't really hear like the buzzes or the crushes or any kind of distinction between those two. But they're there. Read that wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with the feet. 2, 3, bass, hi-hat, bass, hi-hat, hi-hat. Double time on the ride while reading the patterns on the snare. A 1, 2, here we go. I screwed up the foot. No! That's okay. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, and... Yeah, so I like screwed up on the right a little bit there because I like hit my mouse or I was playing. Oops. Okay, cool. Mostly technically proficient and musical. Leaning more towards musical than it was technically proficient. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on there. I'm gonna say, yeah, I had fun with it. It felt in control, no issues. Other than when all of a sudden I hit my mouse. Cool. Okay, so that was pattern number 39. Just kind of reviewed that one. Let's do another one. What else do I want to review? Maybe I should figure out what I want to work on next. So, what I've been doing with like the two different patterns, like when I warmed up at the beginning, where I was playing like this, going into 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then doing this into this into the Baião, like switching between these two patterns. Those are two that I've been working on. So I could maybe figure out what I want to do next. Like another one that I demonstrated was pattern number 2. So ding, 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 and moving into where you're playing long notes on the bass drum and the ride, and short notes, eighth notes, swung on the tom, and filling in everything on the snare while playing 2 and 4 on the hi-hat. So like that was another pattern that I did, but I'm not sure what I want to work on next for switching between them. Maybe I'll think of that off stream. Oh, let's do this one. So the other day I did this Philly Joe way, pattern number 28, but I want to do, where to go? Yeah, this one. So pattern number 15. So pattern 15 is kind of like the Philly Joe way, but not. So the Philly Joe way was 1, 2, but the one that I'm about to play is so the short notes are on the snare, the long notes on the bass drum, while 1, 2, 3, 4, while reading through the charts on there, and it just pasted the word fun. That's fun. Okay. So what speed are we going to do this at? 115 was technically proficient and fun. But last time I did it at 120 and it was eh. Okay, so let's try 115 again. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Okay, so 115. So I'm going to go into the Home tab. Scroll down to the limb independent section. And I'm going to go inside of here. It's a straight pattern, and at 115, so I'm going to go inside straight drum charts from 100 to 159, and I just did 36 through 40, I think, so let's do 31 through 35, and I'm going to select my BPM in the timestamps, and then it'll count off in my headphones, and then I will attempt to play this pattern. 2, 1, 2, ready, and so again, short notes, so eighth notes. Anything longer than that on the bass drum. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. Cool. This feels comfortable at 115. Could probably go faster and still make it sound musical. Again, adding in different sounds, different dynamics, different timbres, different textures to make it more than just the ink on the page. Ready? And... maybe it'd be interesting to switch between this Foley Joe way and this version that I'm playing through it. 1, 2, ready, and... Yeah. I was gonna take some working on it. Maybe I'll do that next time. Not right now. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Short notes are on the snare drum. So 8 notes. Anything longer than that's on the bass drum. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... Cool, last track. This feels comfortable. I think it would be fun to switch between this and... Oops. This. 1, 2... Maybe I'll do that next time. 2. Hashtag goals. That's a fun one. I like it. Overall, it felt musical. It was fun. Yay. I had fun while playing it, and I was adding in different sounds. So the quality of playing, so this right here. So the options that I have is needs a lot of work, like it's terrible. Meh, it's just okay. Technically proficient, which is like playing the ink on the page, and then musical, where you're adding in different dynamics, different timbres, different textures. I'm able to maybe even talk while doing it, etc. So like that's the ultimate goal for all of these. But column A right here says that on average, for this pattern, I'm still technically proficient on average. So I'll keep working on it. The goal is to get all of these to be green to make them musical. But a year ago, most of these were like meh or it needs a lot of work. So like if we go to like this one, it was meh, 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 meh. And then finally it was technically proficient after several attempts on stream while working on this. Jazzy Jared, yes, I am the cousin of Jazzy Jeff. Okay, so highly recommend doing something like this, using a progress journal to keep track of like what you're doing and how you're doing over time. So if you go to my home tab and you scroll all the way down to the tips and lessons section, this drumming tips playlist is where I've answered different questions live on these practice streams. Again, I'm here to practice. If people have questions, I provide answers to them. I've edited many of my responses to some really cool questions that I've gotten, and there's 12 seconds shy of 20 hours of drumming tips inside of here. So if we scroll all the way down to number 74, how journaling can help drummers, drumming tip number 74 at the very beginning talks about why I use this spreadsheet to like keep track of like my playing. And it actually shows this one was not good, this one was not good, these two were not good, these four were not good because they're yellow or red. So it actually shows when I was streaming this, when was this? A year ago. This is where I was at with the progress at that time. And over time, I've gotten better just by consistently working on it. If you want to make your own version of this, just click this link. It'll immediately pop up a thing saying, do you want to make a copy of this template? And then you just say yes. It's not asking for like your email address, like nothing like that. It's literally just you click on it and then it makes a copy in your Google Drive. And it's blank, so you can fill it out with rudimental stuff, concert percussion stuff, drum kit stuff, whatever you want to work on. But it will keep track of like what's the quality of the playing, how did it feel, what was the BPM, etc. For whatever it is that you're working on. Now, if you're like, well, how do I develop the limb independence and what are some patterns to work on? In the limb independence section here, every one of these playlists links to how to develop limb independence and 62 different ways to do limb independence that I demonstrated live on in a like 3+ hour stream. So this one shows you how to do limb independence, and then this one has 62 ways to work on limb independence. Some of them sound good, and some of them I clearly need to work on still. Speaking of, I am not good at double bass yet. So I have a double bass pedal now. So I want to actually work it up. As a rudimental drummer, I have not spent much time working on my double bass. So I'm going to go into the technique section. And when you click, it shows you a ton of things that you can work on, like your rolls or your flams or your fulcrum or whatever. This playlist, the endurance and speed exercises, is a great playlist for your hands or your feet. So if you click on this one, it currently has 70 videos inside of here. And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm working on Chug with hertas. This has some fun things to play with the feet. So with the feet, I'm going to play this. Slow. Eventually I want to get it to the speed of my hands, but I'm not there yet, because turns out you actually have to practice to get good at it. So the way I'm going to practice this is I'm doing heel down and heel up. I'm going to switch every full rep of this. So I'm going to start with heel down, and then I'll do a rep with heel up so I can work on two different techniques. Heel down is a technique I've worked on more than heel up. They're both good for different reasons, so I want to get good at it either way. So I'm starting at 65 today, and I'm going to let it go one click at a time with just my feet. Eventually we'll add in, but I'm not there yet. 1 and 2 and ready and a go and. Pedal, it's like making my feet go out weird like that. Ready, heel up. heel down, 2, 1, 6, 7, ha, ha. Sorry. Heel up. I remember being a kid and also enjoying annoying adults. You can hear with the heel up that I just don't have the control that I have with heel down, which I'm doing now. That feels way more comfortable than it did a couple weeks ago when I first started working this up again. Yay, progress. And a couple weeks ago, we started at 60 and went up for 10 clicks. 1 and 2, heel up. Heel down. And 2. Heel up. 2. And 2. So that was extra weird because the right foot, it wasn't like playing all the notes, but then the left foot was like occasionally getting like a double in there because I just don't have that control with it yet, hence why I'm practicing it. But again, sit with the stuff that you're not comfortable with and then it'll eventually get better. Is heel up working the calf muscle or heel down focuses on shin tendon use? You know, I haven't actually thought about like what muscles or parts of the leg is working on what. For me, I'm thinking of more of the musical application than like what parts of the body I'm using. And maybe that's part of a problem that I need to like work through. So the way that I'm thinking about this, like with heel down, there's more control over the dynamics when I'm playing with my heel down like a Pac-Man like this. Part of that is because I've practiced that more, but it gives me more dynamic control, more control over like the placement. But with heel up, you can get more power out of it and you can get more speed if you're kind of like a dog paddling in water, like pushing down into the pedal to work on this. Now, my left foot doesn't have that control, so it's a little weak. It's kind of like floppy like this when doing the heel up, whereas my right has like the full motion. My left is inconsistent where I'm getting those doubles in there. But I'm actually not sure mechanically what is going on with the legs because I haven't really thought through that. If I were to think through it, like a lot of what I see for like the double basses is actually like this is exaggerated, like moving the legs up a little bit and then like having the front part of the shin activating to do the pressing down. And then when I'm doing the heel down, yeah, I'm not sure. So long way of saying, I don't know actually, but it's a good question. I should work on it. Yeah, let's do this again. What did I just do? Heel up. Yeah, so let's do heel down. 2, 1, 2. You need to work on double bass too? Well, you know what? Let's work on it together. And 2, heel up. I need to work on all things drum kit. Being a rudimental and concert percussionist, this is difficult for me. All the limb independent stuff and whatnot is not natural. I'm going back into the endurance and speed playlist, and I'm going to scroll back down again. I'm going to go a few clicks faster, but I'm going to do it with a different variation that's actually going to require more from my feet. So this is Chug, still the same exercise, but now with singles and hertas instead of just hertas. And so again, in the timestamps, you can pick whatever BPM you want. So if you're a better drum, like double bass player than me, sweet, then go faster. If you are worse than me, also sweet, you can go slower. This one goes as slow as 20, all the way up to 160. So I got you covered. Whatever skill level you are, no gaps. Here we go, 75. Same concept, but slightly more notes with the feet. Let's do heel up, 1 and 2, and da 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 da. Now heel down, 2, and 1 and 2, and da 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 da. I'm pausing because it looks like my stream froze. No. Okay, seems like it might be back. It was flawless. No mistakes were ever made the entire stream, if you're just joining in. Okay, heel up now. Here, 2, ready, and the... Oh, ours off. Yeah, so the hertas are okay with heel up. Let's do heel down, huh? But the singles are not. Yet. But again, this is way better than it was a week ago. 1, and certainly 2 weeks ago. Heel up. Nice and slurred out hertas. That's not what you want. For anyone who's just joining, I'm not good at this yet. Heel down, 2. Hip flexors involved as well. Whole body workout. Yeah. I definitely have mad respect for the people who like actually can play this with their feet. It's difficult, but you know, it's like to each their own though. So you put like a rudimental drummer on a pad, and they will out chop a metal drummer any day. But then you put a metal drummer with their feet on here, and they will out chop the rudimental drummer any day, unless you're Roger Carter, and then you can just do both. Okay. What is this? Heal up. He's a goat. Okay. I don't know where it's at in the middle of the tap off. Oh, it's so bad. Heel down. Whew. Heal up. My legs are so tired. Okay. Did it sound good? No. But is that 14 clicks faster than my maximum tempo was 2 weeks ago? Yeah. Progress. So I'll keep working on it. Happy with the growth here. We'll get there. If you're like newer to drumming, you might be like at this point where you're like, it's just not getting better, and you don't like see just how long it takes to actually get better. Think in terms of like years or months as opposed to like hours and days in terms of like amount of effort. Like all the limb independent stuff that I worked on that for more than a year, just like to get to the point where I could play all 62 of those variations. It's going to take at least a year or so to be able to play like this with my feet and get it as comfortable as my hands. I've been drumming for almost 30 years, so my hands are at a level that my feet are not at, because turns out 30 years of playing with your hands, almost 30 years, is much more than I've been doing with my feet. Roger Carter, you'll check it into him. So Roger Carter is the caption head for the Blue Coats. And then he's also involved with, who is it? Broken City, I believe, the WGI group. But Roger Carter marched for the Blue Devils on Snare in the 90s. And the dude has hands. He's got chops for days, but he's also a metal drummer. And he's just like phenomenal. So really chill dude, it seems like, based on the videos I've seen, but I've never actually spoken to him. But yeah, he's the caption head for Blue Coats Drum Corps. But yeah, Roger Carter is... You'll actually see like lock clips with him, just like while the drum line is just like playing whatever. If you knew Susie like I knew Susie, while he's just like laying down, just like 4 on the floor, just like a very basic beat. But the guy's got hands for days and feet for days. Anyways, okay, so as long as I don't get injured again like I did yesterday, tomorrow I'll be working on pad, working on technique and whatnot. And then 2 days from now, I'll be back on limb independence and whatnot. So stay tuned for more. But I'm going to get ready to play Yakuza Like a Dragon. So if you scroll all the way down in the gaming section, it's this game. So this will be like the 8th time I've jumped into the game while streaming it. But all the play-alongs that I used were in the limb independence section for the charts that I was reading. And then what I was just playing was in the technique section. For all of these different sections on my home tab of YouTube, just click and it'll expand to show you all the playlists. So I was just working on chug variations in the endurance and speed exercises, but there's 70 videos in here that you can work on with your feet, with your hands, whatever you want to do to improve endurance and speed. But there's a ton of other exercises. And if you're like, well, what do I listen for? How do I improve? Blah, 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 blah. How do I hold the sticks? The Tips and Lessons has just under 20 hours of me answering questions on stream. They're edited, so it's condensed. And then there's currently 25 videos inside of this drumming lessons playlist that has scripted lessons on specific things like how to hold traditional grip, or how to make drumming feel effortless, or why I think metronomes are overrated for drummers, etc. Any of these videos that say members first are all scheduled to release for free. So there's about 600 or so of them, and every single one of them are going to come out for free. It just might be in like 600 or so days, or it might be like tomorrow. If you want early access to it, the join button right here It's 99 cents. That's the cheapest I can make it, and it gives you every single one of these videos for free that are eventually coming out for free. It just gives you early access to it, so you don't have to wait like over a year for some of them to come out. Working on more, so stay tuned for more. If you enjoy these free resources, just share them with somebody else. And if you don't enjoy these free resources, then share them with an enemy. And that still helps me out. You know a guy who marched Snare at Bluecoats? That's awesome. Well, GG's to Devin for marching there. That's very cool. I only marched with Academy back in the day. I did 5 years there, and then I got into a car accident on my 5th year. And then I couldn't march year 6 or 7 because of the car accident. So that's me when I was a center snare for Academy back in the day. That was a long time ago. Over 20 years ago. Wow, I'm old. Anyways, I'm going to call it here. So I had fun working on limb independence and whatnot. I look forward to playing it some more. But I'm going to tear this down, and I'm going to get ready for Yakuza, Like a Dragon. I got to move everything, so it might be like 15, 20 minutes just to move it all. But I appreciate everybody stopping in. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the insights and whatnot. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.